CFI. Thank you so much for that very warm welcome. I'm absolutely thrilled to be speaking here in front of all of you. You all know, it goes without saying, you would have heard 3 other candidates say this already, that the UK's relationship with Israel is absolutely critical. We are allies, we are friends, and we need to stick together. Our 2 countries both have an unwavering belief in freedom and democracy. And at this time, we can see that freedom and democracy is in peril in the Middle East, as Israel is facing threats from all fronts. They are fighting terrorism on the Iranian front, they're facing Hamas, Hezbollah. We need to stand strong with our ally. And even thank you for talking about moral clarity. I think that quite a lot of the time, people seem to get confused about what is going on, and sometimes we need to make clear who the bad guys are. Hezbollah are the bad guys. Israel is fighting a war for the West. Israel is fighting for survival. There used to be Jewish people all across the Middle East. I've met people who fled from Egypt. I have met people who have fled from so many other countries, only to find refuge in Israel. And that is why we must make sure that it is protected. And I saw this myself last year when I visited Israel as Trade Secretary, and it was a fantastic trip. I talked about it last year at CFI. I talked about how I saw so much collaboration between our 2 countries. Israeli pharmaceutical supplier NHS. Israeli intelligence helps us prevent terrorist attacks. Israeli arms imports help our services personnel. Israel supports the UK. The UK will support Israel. When I was in Jerusalem, what I saw was a vibrant melting pot. There was freedom of religion to everyone. If you want growth, look to Israel. If you want a proud, diverse nation, look to Israel. And that is why, after leaving full of so much hope, as we were working on our free trade agreement, having so many meetings with my counterparts, Tipi, I saw Tipi there, there she is, yes, Tipi's nude. You know how much work we were doing, how close we were on this FTA. And then October 7th happened. And I cannot tell you just how my heart broke. What happened on October 7th is a stain on the world's conscience. We need to make sure that something like that never happens again. I've met mothers whose children were stolen from them and taken to Gaza. I have spoken with first responders and witnesses of the sexual violence that the UN was too slow to acknowledge. I have made sure that at every opportunity I had, we did not forget the hostages. We did not allow people to turn the story of October 7th into something else. We need to make sure that we keep the memory of what happened alive so that people remember what this war is about. And I will continue to do so. Even though we're not in government, we still have a voice, we still have power, and we need to use it to make sure that people remember many of those people who are still missing, who are still kidnapped, and who need to get home to their families. But we also need to be brave. We can see what is happening in our country. I saw it as Trade Secretary. When I flew the flag of Israel on my department's roof, there were protests. Civil servants and unions complained. Union-backed civil servants threatened to strike if we didn't drop the FTA. There were protests outside my department, red paint was thrown on the door, staff and security personnel were shoved around, they were threatened. That did not stop us from doing the right thing. That is why it was so disappointing to see Labour immediately rush out to try and appease the people who we have been standing firm against. what they did with UNRWA, what they did with arms licenses, suspending licenses that I know did not need to be suspended. I saw that legal advice and I exposed Keir Starmer's hypocrisy. We need to make sure that they don't get away with telling lies. We have a government that bows to the mob. They have shown again and again that they don't have principles, they don't know what they stand for. They think that they can just do whatever they can to appease a few people and get away with it. We, the Conservative Party, must hold them to account. We, the Conservative Party, must always fight anti-Semitism. But we also need to be aware that this threat is not just with Labour. We saw at this election MPs elected on the back of sectarianism. They have joined with Jeremy Corbyn. It's a new threat. We must not pretend that these people are a minority. We have to fight this ideology that has no business in our country. This country needs the Conservative Party. Labour does not have the courage to defeat sectarianism. They will always appease it if they get the chance to. We need to make sure they don't get that chance. And that is why it is absolutely important that after this historic defeat, the Conservative Party picks itself back up, renews, and gets ready. Because I believe Labour will fail. They've already started failing. And when the time comes, the country will be looking for something new. We have to be that change. We cannot be the party that they just said no to in July. We have to be a new, refreshed, rebuilt, optimistic party with hope for the future. And that is what I am standing for.